Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Equis Financial Business Opportunity Overview. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is John Kight, and I'm coming at you live from Raleigh, North Carolina, in my home. And for once in a while, I mean, it's been usually I am coming in from the eastern part of the state, running business, which I was earlier today, but I didn't have a very full day. I'm actually getting ready to fly over to Dallas, Texas first thing tomorrow morning, and I'm going to be with a whole bunch of people from Equis Financial tomorrow. We're going to be doing a training, and it's just really going to be a couple of days of trainings actually, and meetings. So I'm looking forward to that, and so anyway, excited to be coming at you tonight. Excited to take the next 15 minutes or so and go through the Equis Financial Business Opportunity Overview. You know, my goal over the next 15 minutes is to give you just a really good idea of who we are and what it is we do here at Equis. There's a couple of different avenues that we run on. And when I say avenues, there's a couple of different interest levels that people have when they check out Equis. You know, we've got a great sales system. And so we get our share of people that are looking at Equis Financial from a full-time sales opportunity. You know, their desires to get out there and make over 100,000 a year, make over 250,000 a year, and we certainly have the opportunity to do that. As a matter of fact, that's becoming more of the norm of our full-time sales reps. Part-time sales reps, though, it's exciting to see so many people on a part-time basis succeed, and to be able to average $500 a sale. Actually, my son's home from college, and he got his insurance license, and he is out doing some work, and he just got paid on his first case. And I said, "How much do you get paid?" And it was a little over $500. So it's just neat because last year he was doing manual labor, and it certainly. I think he worked all month to make that much money. So that was what he made off of his first sale. And so it's just exciting. So we definitely get people looking at Equis from a sales standpoint. I'm going to talk about our full-time and part-time opportunity tonight, but we also get people looking at Equis Financial for, it's almost like 180 degrees different, because, they've already got a sales job. They've already got a business of their own. They're already making decent money. They're succeeding kind of in the wrong world, in the wrong quadrant. We're taught to go to school, get a good education, get out and get a good job. And the most ambitious of us, we do that, right? The most ambitious of us, we go out there and we conquer, we get that good job. And we wake up every day and we're so frustrated because the amount of money we make is just simply based on the amount of time that we're required to do it. So even though everybody thinks we're doing good, we're making all this money, we have very little time to enjoy it, right? And those of us that have an entrepreneurial spirit, we absolutely hate working for somebody else, right? We hate going in, we hate filling out reports, we hate answering to somebody, we hate somebody's thumb on our head. And so, I love talking to people about the Equis opportunity. I talk to people about the sales opportunity, but the sales opportunity in the grand scheme of things, when you're talking about the Equis business opportunity, the sales part of it is just an activity that we do. I've gone out on my own personal pen over the last couple of years, and I've made right at 200,000, a little over 200,000 on my own pen. But I got to tell you that requires me to wake up every week and go work. That's what it requires me to do. And yeah, we do make residuals in this business on our own pen, but there's nothing like being able to go out there and create distribution, and to be able to create overrides, to be able to go out there and do the work one time and get paid on an ongoing permanent basis from that one-time investment of work. So I'm going to talk a little bit about building a business tonight as well. So to go back to the start and to really talk to you guys from a sales opportunity standpoint, we're lead-driven sales. We serve middle-income America. When I say lead-driven sales, I'm going to use this lead right here. This is actually a lead that when I was in Eastern North Carolina today, I actually door knocked this lead and set an appointment for Friday at noon. Okay. So you guys are able to see that. So what we do is we mail people. We actually mail two groups of people. We mail a group of people that have just refinanced and or just got a brand new mortgage. So we call that aspect of our business mortgage protection. We mail them a letter like this that's got their mortgage amount, it's got their lender on there, and it's got the guy filled out his name, his cell number, his wife's cell number, his age on there, and basically the form that they filled out and answered was requesting information on protecting the new mortgage they've got with, and that's Myland Incorporated. That's the first time I've ever got one from Myland, Milend Incorporated. So that's the lender. Usually it's Quicken Loans or State Employees Credit Union, Wells Fargo, those types of lenders. So people that just refinanced or just got a new mortgage, we mail letters, a certain percentage of them, fill them out and send them in. They request somebody like me to come out there and see them and to get them their information. And really, what I did to make $200,000 a year was I invested in about 10 to 12 of these a week. And I consistently booked 8 appointments every single week. Now, there were some weeks now, and I'm going to tell you, our system actually teaches to book 15 appointments, which I highly recommend following the system. I'm just saying that for me personally, I invested in 10 to 12 of those leads. So I had about $500 invested on a weekly basis, and I was full-time. Okay, so there's nothing part-time about what I'm talking about right now. I was full-time. I invested about $500 a week to get a return of about $4,000 to $5,000 a week coming back into my bank account. So how did I get the $5,000 a week coming to my bank account? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. So once I invested in the leads, those leads were actually emailed to me. And so I called up, and so this guy, his name is Danny. And so I would say, hey, Mr. Danny, this is John Kight. How you doing? He'd say, I'm doing fine. Who are you? Do I know you? And I said, no, I'm the field underwriter that was assigned to that request that you filled out and sent in on that new mortgage you've got of $267,425. And they would generally say, oh yeah, okay, got it. And so I'm the field underwriter that's been assigned to get that information to you. I'm going to be in your area on Monday or Tuesday of this week. What's the best time of day to stop it off to you, morning, afternoon, or evening? So that's how I would book my appointments. Now, out of about 10 to 12, what I call A leads, which is what I invested in, there's a lot of people that make a lot of money working inventory leads, so they don't invest near the amount of money I invest, which is fine. But I looked at it as a business, and that's what I did. Okay. For better or worse. But, and so out of 10 to 12 A leads, I would consistently book, 8, 9, 10 appointments a week. And so I would book a large percentage of the leads that I actually got. Now, I would consistently sit on about 8 appointments a week. There's always something would come up on a couple of appointments. Maybe they would no-show. Maybe they would forget about it. Maybe they got sick. Maybe they had to reschedule. But the weeks that I went out and I sat down with 8 of them. Now, here's what I do when I sit down with them. I introduce myself as a field underwriter. I let them know the difference between a field underwriter and a life insurance salesperson. And so I let them know that I'm a field underwriter. I let them know that they can ask me any questions, that I represent a lot of the top A-rated carriers. And then I find out why they filled out this form. What were you thinking? What do you want to accomplish? And then I ask questions like, would one of you be financially exposed if something happened to the other one? And if so, if something did happen to the other one, would you want to stay in this house? Is this house where you want to be? And typically just asking people that, it brings out an incredible amount of emotion. Because they just moved into their dream house, or they just refinanced a house that they've been in forever, and they hated refinancing, but they did it because they had to financially. Maybe they wanted to do some upgrades. but now they're kind of like, oh no, we've got a mortgage again, right? And so basically what I do is I just try to find an option that fits inside their budget that they can afford, and that they're happy with, that definitely protects them from losing their house if they were to get sick or hurt or actually pass away. And getting sick or hurt, I'm telling you guys, that kind of hits on what our passion is when we go out and sit down and talk to people, because we don't have the type of insurance that your granddad had. We don't sell death insurance. We actually have the new type of life insurance that actually has the same type of triggers that you've heard of long-term care, right? So same type of triggers is what we call living benefits. And so if one of my clients were to get diagnosed with a critical illness or a chronic illness or a terminal illness, they would actually be able to accelerate a percentage up to 95% of their face amount if they were to encounter one of those things. And I will tell you that statistically speaking, more people lose mortgages due to sickness, due to a critical illness or a chronic illness, more so than death. So I have that conversation with people, and I talk about living benefits a bunch. And so that's mortgage protection. All we do is we invest in leads. And again, you don't have to invest in 8 leads like I did, but I'm just telling you that's the decision that I made. Again, there's a lot of people that invest in $2 leads and $5 leads and inventory leads, and they might spend a little bit more time booking their 8, 10, 15 appointments, but they've got somewhat less money invested in going out there and than I did. So that's the decision that you'll make getting started. We do help people get started, especially people that are on a shoestring budget. So if you're sitting out there saying, "Oh man, there's no way I can afford $500 invested," well, we're not asking you to do that. Okay, I'm just teaching you guys exactly what I did in order to go out there and make $200,000 a year. You may be part-time, and you may be sitting there saying, "Hey man, if I could just go out there and make an extra 25 to 50,000, man, that would change my life forever. I'd be able to pay off some student loan debt. I'd be able to, basically get out from under the debt that my wife and I, or my spouse and I, have built up early in our marriage." And so, so depending on what you want, we would have a plan to actually target that. Now, I mentioned mailing to a different segment of people. We also mail to lower income baby boomers. And this is, so we're going to go from mortgage protection to final expense. Now, I am from a distribution builder, from a business builder, I'm more excited right now in our final expense division and growing our final expense division than I am, and I'm very excited about mortgage protection. I wake up thinking about mortgage protection, but right now I'm even more excited about final expense. And the reason is because, especially where I live right, and where I am right now is Central North Carolina, we have the ability to hire 40, 50 full-time people right here in Central North Carolina to go out there and take care of people on a final expense basis. So let me explain to you final expense. So you've got a good handle on mortgage protection right now. So final expense, we direct mail, same type of letter, except the letter to our final expense people, it talks about paying off end-of-life expenses. And so the interested people, they fill out that form and they mail it back in the same way the mortgage protection people do. So when we go sit down with those people, it's just a different process, because the reason they filled out their form was to make sure that, that their family didn't have to have a GoFundMe to pay for their funeral. They don't want to be sitting in a morgue someplace and not, their kids or their family members not have enough money to get them from the morgue to the dirt, right? I mean, the whole goal is to make sure, hey, when I pass away, I want to make sure my end-of-life expenses are taken care of. And for those lower income seniors out there that are concerned about that, there's a lot of different ways that we can do that. And we feel like we've got the very best way, which is a state-approved whole life coverage amount that they cannot outlive builds cash value, and more importantly, is something that fits inside of their budget. So right now, I'm looking to hire people specifically for final expense and mortgage protection as well. But I want to make sure that on tonight's opportunity meeting we do a good job. Sometimes I don't do a good enough job really differentiating between the two, mortgage protection and final expense. It's two totally different divisions. We don't mix and match them. It's two totally different sales opportunities. It's two totally different sales presentations. It's two totally different lead sources. But I am so excited to have the opportunity right now with Equis Financial to be able to grow both. Yes, we're looking for full-time people. If you're full-time and you've got your insurance license, that's fantastic. If you don't have your insurance license out there, that's probably even more fantastic. Right now, I will tell you that, you know, we're really focusing on bringing new talent into our industry. So if some of you guys, you do have an insurance license, that again, that's great. That's not a mark against you. But I just want you to know that, I mean, right now we feel burdened to bring the next wave of talent into this great industry. And so again, if you're out there and you're not licensed, jamming, way to go. You're actually who we are more looking for right now, non-licensed people. You've never been in the insurance business. You probably, like me, you probably said a million times, I'll never get into the insurance business. But somebody put in front of you maybe a little video from Equis Financial. Maybe you saw a little cartoon video that talked a little bit about the Equis Financial opportunity, and you said, hey man, I like that. Like that's not, you know, that's not me wearing a bow tie and going out and talking to my mom and dad and my brothers and sisters and my aunts and uncles and cousins and all that about insurance. And so maybe you find yourself on this Zoom opportunity meet tonight. So looking for full-time people, but even more so looking for part-time people that already have full-time jobs. That, you know, maybe, you know, you're sitting out there and you're going, man, this sounds so good, but man, I've got a paying job. I've got a W-2 job. You know, going 100% commission is really scary. And I will tell you that it is. I remember making that jump as well. And you know, maybe you've got a choice in making that jump, or maybe you don't have a choice. Maybe you're getting fired from your job and like, this is it. Like you don't even have a choice. You're getting pushed out of the nest, right? And so, but if you do have the luxury of starting part-time while working full-time, I highly recommend it. You know, just for a couple of months, you know, get started. Go out there and get your feet wet. See if you can make a couple. See if you're good at it. You know, see if you like it. See if you're good at it. See if you can make some money at it. And if you find that you can, you know, a lot of people go out there and they find out that they can make more money part-time than they're making full-time. So I really like people that when they make a decision to come full-time with Equis, they make it out of a position of strength, not out of a position of hope or weakness. So not that hope is a position of weakness, but you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's our sales opportunity, lead-driven, serving middle-income America, and we are absolutely passionate about living benefits. So I'm going to transition for the next few minutes before I close up, and I'm going to talk about building a business. You know, when I talk to people about building a business, it's not so much the activity of building a business that I talk to them about. It's more about the result that we can produce. You know, I think that by and large, all of us, we've been taught how to be broke. Okay, let me clarify. Okay, we've been taught how to be broke. We've been taught how to go to school, get a good education, and get out and get a good job and go work for somebody else, and guarantee ourselves by the time we're age 65, we have a 98% chance of being dead or dead broke. Because that's the statistics from the Social Security Administration. 98% of people that reach age 65, they're either dead, they're not here anymore, or they're broke. Well, why would so many people be broke? Well, because so many people followed the advice of going to school, getting a good education, and get out and getting a good job. Because guys, working for somebody else, we're never going to make it financially. We're never going to get paid what we're worth working for somebody else. We're only going to get paid what it costs to replace us. And so a lot of people go out there and endure that, and that's fine. I'm not putting those people down, but I am saying that there's a lot of people out there that have an entrepreneurial spirit that absolutely hate waking up every day and going and working for somebody else. And they just want a shot at making their own hours, owning their own business, and going out there and succeeding on their own terms. And those are the people that I'm looking for. So it's the result of not being broke. Well, clarify the result of not being broke. Okay. So not being broke means that I've got income that is now coming in on an ongoing, permanent, passive type basis. Meaning what? Well, in my personal sales, I have to physically make a phone call. I have to physically drive to Teaching, North Carolina, and go sit down with this guy. I've got to physically write an insurance application. I've got to send that insurance application in. I've got to help get it approved. And then I get paid one time for all of that effort. Well, when I talk to Bob and I tell Bob about this opportunity, and I interview Bob, I qualify Bob, and then I ultimately select Bob to work directly with me. So I'm going to train Bob. Once Bob's trained, how many times do I have to train Bob? I have to train him one time. How often do I make money? If Bob's out there doing good and Bob's out there making money, how often do I make money? I make money every time he makes money. So when I transfer my thought process and my skill level to Bob and to Joe and to Sally and to Mary, when I transfer my thought process and skill level and I get them making more money than they're willing to give up, whether it's part-time or full-time, I've now created an ongoing, permanent type of an income. So when I go out there and hire Joe, Bob, and Pat, and Sally, and Mary, that's my version of going out there and buying real estate. That's my version of, if I were Ray Kroc with McDonald's, that's my version of putting people in a McDonald's restaurant. If I were Monahan with Domino's, that would be my version of putting people into a pizza restaurant. If I were DeLuca with Subway sandwiches, that would be my version of putting people in a Subway sandwich. So it's all franchising. It's all duplication. And once you learn to duplicate yourself, you take the lid off of your income, because now you can go out there and duplicate yourself as many times as you want. And every time you duplicate yourself, you're adding another income stream to your existing income. So I love the investment of time building a distribution. We build distribution for companies like Mutual of Omaha, Transamerica, Foresters, AIG, Government Personnel Mutual. I mean, it's really cool to be able to represent some of the top A-rated insurance carriers in the country. The insurance industry is a $7 trillion industry. I think last time I heard it was like 70 cents out of every dollar flowed through an insurance company. So guys, I mean, we're talking about an incredibly large industry. And right now it's so cool to be in this industry and to be in lead-driven sales and to be able to build an agency in lead-driven sales. And so I just want to thank you for plugging in tonight. I hope the last 15, 20 minutes, I hope that it has educated you. It's giving you that 10,000-foot overview of who we are at Equis Financial, what we're doing. And if you want to take the next step, just text the person. It's getting a little bit late, so I mean, you probably don't want to call them, but just text them and say, hey, man, I sat through that little opportunity overview, and I really like what I heard. I'd like to take the next step, whatever the next step is. And what we'll do is we'll get you some more information about some of the things that I talked about tonight, and then we'll maybe set up a time to answer some of your questions and ultimately maybe even help get you started. So and if you do decide to do that, I do look forward to talking to you. I look forward to meeting you someday soon. We've got a lot of exciting things going on here at Equis Financial. If you happen to be in the Dallas area, again, I'm actually flying out first thing tomorrow morning. I'm going to be in Dallas all day tomorrow. We've got training all day starting 9 a.m. Central Time, and we'll have training going up until about 9:30, 10 o'clock p.m. Central Time. So if you're anywhere in the Dallas area, Metroplex area, please consider taking the day off and maybe driving over and meeting us. So I'm going to mute out for just a few minutes here, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a training for our existing agents. And so now, if you're brand new, now would be a good time just to drop off the Zoom. Thank you so much, guys.